The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Everyone, we had a little trouble getting online today. This is Betty Ray bringing Raphael and our co-host Holly. Welcome. We have planned today to talk about. We have an echo. Jason. Okay. We still have an echo. All right. We can walk again. All right. Yeah. I think we've gotten rid of the echo. Okay, I'm Betty Ray, and this is Holly, and we're bringing you a topic today that everybody is familiar with, and that's dreams. Now, some people seem to think that they don't ever dream. So you just want to move it down a little bit, maybe? There we go. Oh, that didn't do it.
We're not in.
Okay. We're still not in the studio. Jason, can you help us? Because we should see the comments. We don't see any comments, even a category for it. Don't touch that. So, Jason, can you help us here? This is our engineer. We've had a hard time getting on today. I hope you can see and hear us, but we can't get your comments. I hope they can be brought up on the screen. We have been fooling around with the technicalities, and it seems like that happens every once in a while. So we'll just have to go ahead and pretend that somebody's out there listening to us and that your comments are going to come online so we can see them. Excuse me. And so today, dreams, right?
Dreams. So I thought we'd talk about dreams today, and I thought we would talk about the purpose of dreams, dream journaling, and the signs and symbols that people get in their dreams. So let's first talk about purpose. So what do you think the purpose of dreaming is?
Well, I think it's God's way of communicating with us in a way that we can't do when we have a conscious mind that is always interfering with anything coming from the angelic realm or from the spirit of God. We want to analyze everything in our conscious mind. And when we're in a dream state, we're in a pure state, when the dreams can come unbidden and they have messages to give us if we can remember them. A lot of people say, I don't remember my dreams at all. But there are ways to help you remember the dreams, and we will talk about that as well today. So we want to talk about the symbolism of dreams. And there are many good books out there. You can look them up. Edgar Cayce has one called Your Magic Mirror. And we have others that I particularly like and that we'll talk about later. Okay, so symbolism in dreams. Let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Okay, well, since we spend a third of our time dreaming, I think it's important that we, a third of our lifetime, right? If we sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, that's a fourth to a third of our time that we spend sleeping. And so I think that dreams are a way to make a bridge from the spiritual side to the physical. So we can get messages, as Betty Ray said, we can get messages, we can get symbols and signs in our dreams that help us bridge that gap between the spiritual and the physical in our daily lives. So signs and symbols, everyone has their own unique signs and symbols in their dreams, because what appears in my dream may not have the same meaning as it appears in your dream. So it's very individual, but when you get recurring symbols and signs in your dream, you can start to recognize a pattern. So
this is why we suggest that you keep a dream journal.
yes.
Actually, I keep a 3-ring binder, and in the back, I have the alphabetized tabs so that if I continually see the same bird, I put it under B, bird, and then I ask for what that means at that time, and I'll put that down. And sometimes it can mean something different. It might be a different bird. For example, for me, a robin means springtime. Even though now in Florida, I get robins, but back in Michigan, when I saw a robin, that meant springtime. So if I saw it in a dream, that would mean like renewal, refreshment. Think of something that's new and begin starting again. But if I saw a cardinal, it meant something different to me. So begin keeping your own dream journal. Don't look at others that have dream journals because they don't apply to you. Keep your own. I think that's really important. So looking at your dreams, first of all, has to take a firm intention. When you have to, first of all, have a notebook beside your bed. If you have a partner in bed, you might want to have a pen that has a flashlight to it. I had to do that at one time so that when you put the pen on, it lights up and you can write in the dark.
And now today with technology, you can just use your cell phone. I found that it's much easier just to make a voice memo, because the more you move while you're having the dream or waking up from the dream, that's when the images tend to disappear. So I keep my phone nearby. I just make a voice memo and I just talk into the phone. And then later when I wake up in the morning, then I write it down or type it.
You can see she's a lot younger than I am. She thinks differently. More technology there. Okay, so you have to have the intent. This, I think, is important. You have to let your angels and guides know you really want to do this. And that's when you have your phone handy, you know how to get onto it, or a notebook, whichever works for you. And you also keep a dream journal in that you write down in detail as much as you can, as though you are in the dream at that time. And so this is really important too. Then the next step is discerning what the dream means. And there's many techniques for doing it, but the one that I found most useful is what is called scripting. I would pretend I was talking to the dream. It could be an inanimate object like a chair. And I could say, chair, why are you in my dream? And then I would write chair with a colon. And without thinking about it, whatever popped in my head, I would let the chair speak. The chair represents rest, or the chair represents somebody that I have lost. Sometimes a rocking chair represents that. So you need to find out what these symbols in your dream represent. And that's the best way, is to ask them, what do you represent in my dream? And then write it down in your dictionary of dreams, because this is the best way to build up a repertoire of dream symbols so that the angels can use them to talk to you through your dreams. So what else are we going to talk about?
I would say that before you go to sleep at night, it's important to set an intention also. So I look forward to the time that I'm going to sleep, and I set an intention that I'm going to remember my dreams. I call upon my spirit guides and angels to help me while I'm sleeping, while I'm dreaming, and help me to remember them. So I set an intention before I go to bed that I'm going to dream and that I'm going to remember my dreams, and that I ask for help in interpreting those dreams.
Another technique is to get a small glass of water. And before you go to bed, you drink half of that glass with the intent that you will remember your dreams. And then when you wake up, you drink the lower half of that glass with the intent of remembering your dreams, and they will come back. Sometimes a physical example of what you intend to do helps to stimulate the brain and the mind to give you what you need. And then write them down in the present tense. That means that you write them down as though you are in them right now. Not is that I dreamed that and you put it in the past tense. Do it as you're living it now. Then you can have a better idea that puts you back into the dream state, and that gives you a better answer to what it means. It will come to you and you can write it down. So dreams are really important. Raphael talks about different kinds of dreams. He says that there are physical dreams. And an example was that I was not driving. If you're in the driver's seat, you're in control, right? Well, I wasn't. I was in the passenger seat. And behind me was one of my students, which said to me I was getting a lesson, right? And then all of a sudden, the student put this pig, and it wasn't a cute little pink pig. It was an ugly gray boar. He dumped it in my lap, and I went, ew, what on earth? And I reached down on the floor, picked up an apple, and put it in his mouth. So, how would you interpret that, Holly?
Well, I wouldn't interpret your dream with your symbols, because a pig might mean something else to me. A student in the back seat might mean something else to me. So I'm going to throw it back on you. I have my own ideas, but I would never say to another person, oh, your dream means this, this, and this, because that's what it means to me.
I think that's important, because everybody wants to help everybody else. And so you want to do that. Don't do it. Help them to figure out what it is that means. Well, first of all, I was a teacher at the time that I was doing this, but it was a student that was teaching me. And the boar, because I called it a boar. Now, I don't know that anybody else would have, but it meant my diet was boring, and that I needed to look at my diet, and I needed to have more fruits and vegetables. That's when I reached down, I picked up an apple and put it in. So that was the lesson, that I needed to look at my diet and to have a healthier diet. That was just a quick and fun, because it was like Spirit was just sort of joking with me and encouraging me, not scolding me or anything like that, but encouraging me to think again about what I put in my body and how that will help me to be long lived. And since I'm 87, I think the dream worked. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do we go next?
Another type of dream that I've had, there wasn't a story attached to it, but several weeks ago, I saw a window with a picture of a cat's face in the window. And the only cat I could associate it with was my friend's cat. And so I thought it was her cat in the window. But later now, looking back at that, I recognized that cat's face is this cat that came to me a couple weeks ago and showed up in our yard. And so now when I think about that dream, I'm thinking, oh, that was like a precognitive dream, a premonition of something that was going to happen in my life. And sure enough, it was the kitty's face in the window in my dream.
So that was a precognitive dream, meaning a dream of the future. Mm-hmm. So that's one type of dream. Now, there's such a thing as a past life dream. Some people have that, where they find themselves in a different costume in a different century, or they look down and they see they're barefoot or something. That's when you got a clue that maybe this is a dream about a past life. And so you look at that and you see, how does that relate to your life now? Because usually it's your angels helping you to see that maybe you're repeating the same mistakes and you need to look at it. Or it might be to give you some inspiration about someone who's in your life and why you're having a conflict with them. So pay attention to what you see in the costume that the person wears, so that you know it could be a past life dream. There's also, I've got to remember a dream, a precognitive dream again, where I was going to do a speaking engagement, and I was in the woman's bathroom, and I looked in the mirror and I had all this white stuff on my face. And I thought, what on earth is that? And then I went out in to do the lecture, and the overhead projector wouldn't work. And so I'm frantically in the dream trying to get somebody to fix the overhead projector. Well, sure enough, that actually happened. The very next day, I was supposed to give a lecture, and the overhead projector didn't work. I had to find somebody to scramble around and try and fix it. By the end of the time, I finally got it working. So I used my overhead projection sheets to do a summary of my talk. Well, people came up and congratulated me on being able to stay calm, and thought that it was really very good that I gave that example. But I was told this was going to happen. So look for those kinds of dreams as well. And there's other kinds of dreams too. Don't forget about dreams that talk about those who have passed. Sometimes they come to visit you in their dreams, in your dreams. And I remember My mother came to me and she was on the telephone and she said, "Why don't you call me?" And I thought, I can call you? That was my reaction. How do I call you, Mom? And she said, "Just think about me and I'll come." So that was really profound.
Mm-hmm.
So you can talk to those who have passed. They are ready and eager to be able to communicate with you, and they want to be remembered. So when you do think about those who have passed, send them blessings to the other side, and they will usually send them right back at you. So dreams have so many valuable things for you. Don't even think about forgetting what you dreamed. If you can remember it, do jot it down, because sometimes if you don't write it down, or for me, I wrote things down because I didn't have the phone back in my day. But if you got the phone, speak of it in the present tense. That's really important. Don't speak of it as though something that was past. Speak of it as though this is what you are in right that moment. And then you can have time to really look at it. And sometimes you can go back into the dream and actually talk to the person or the thing. Could be a chair. Sometimes a chair could speak to you. Believe it or not, it might say, "You really need to rest more." So don't hesitate to talk to it. And of course, I remember one particular dream that I'll share. And that was a nightmare that woke me up, and I had to get up and go into the bathroom because I had a partner at the time to write it down. And that was a rat that was the size of a tomcat. Let me get it out here. About that big. It was huge. I was up in an attic, and there was one where the roof comes over your head, and so you had to kind of scrunch down, and he was coming at me to attack me. And I was like, what do I do? I can't get around down the stairs. I grabbed a stick and I tried to put it in its mouth, and it was pushing it away from me. And I finally took the stick and I jabbed it in its eye, and it was gross. And I dropped the stick and I ran down the stairs, and I found myself in an empty car salesman with windows all the way around. And I just yelled, "Get out, get out." Then I calmed down enough to talk to my dream and say, why were you there? What was that about? And I was told that my dream represented my fears, my anxieties. And do you know anybody that doesn't have fears and anxieties?
No, I think
I'm
we all
afraid.
do.
I don't think so. But they actually can change your life. They can make your life not as good, because when you get filled with fear and anxiety, it carries over into your daytime. So here's this rat representing all my fears and anxieties. And I decided to script it, as I learned from Dusty Bunker. She calls it dream cycles in her book. And she says, if you take a chair and put it opposite you, that's your dream. And then you sit in this chair and you talk to your dream. Then you get up and you go sit in the other chair and the dream talks back to you. Well, I decided that was a little too much. So I instead wrote it down as though I were writing a script.
Mm-hmm.
I found it so valuable because the rat said to me, "I represent your fears." And I said, that was a pretty good way of doing that. But why were you there? To help you to understand that your dreams also represent what you need to overcome in the way of anxieties and fears. You need to look them square in the eye. And I went, ooh, and I poked him right in the eye, because the rat said, because the eye is how you perceive life. And so I said, but why the car salesman empty, the showroom? Why was it empty? And he said, because you need to get out this dream again and again in the future. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that dream out to help people to understand that dreams help you to overcome your fears. And in this case, I was being told to share that dream with others, to know that your dreams are trying to help you to face your fears and to overcome them, to make it your life better. And when they said, get out, well, I was getting this dream out many, many times to talk about it. So dreams are so valuable. Begin by reading some books on dreams. Edgar Cayce has one, as I said, your something about your mirror. I forgot now. And then Dusty Bunker did that in Dream Cycles. She used numerology, which made it really interesting. She says, like the number 3, I remember, she said, you will see yourself in probably a yellow car because the number 3 represents yellow for some reason, and it represents travel. And so I thought, well, that's interesting. So that was a good way to look at it. It went along with the with numerology, and it helps you to see how your dreams can reflect that. So there's so much wisdom that you can have in your dreams that it's really, really important that you begin to look at them.
So I'd like to go back to the fears because I want to remind our listeners that you can also develop lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming
right.
is when you are aware that you're dreaming. So there are some techniques to help you develop this skill of learning to be aware of that you're having a dream. So one technique is to look at your hands, right? To look at your hands in the dream and see if you can poke your finger through your hand. So if you can poke your finger through your hand, you know you're dreaming, right? And then you can tell yourself in the dream, it's just a dream. I'm dreaming. So this can help you deal with the fears. It can also help you. Sometimes we have daydreams too during the day, and there might be a time when you're meditating or even daydreaming and you're not quite sure, is this real in my 3D world or is this just a dream? And I would like to debate that sometime because I think even the 3D world could be a dream. So we could be living a dream. Life is but a dream, right?
Yes.
And living in another parallel dimension at the same time. And since I think that time is really vertical,
that's an interesting way of
past,
looking at it.
Present, and future are stacked instead of linear. A past, present, and future, the time is vertical. So that means you have access to all time all at once. And if you're dealing with fears, you can help yourself plan an escape route in the dream. So if you're aware that you're dreaming, you can prepare yourself to have an escape route or defend yourself if something is attacking you. I had a friend whose young son was having nightmares. And he was seeing monsters, and every night he was having some kind of nightmare.
That's terrible.
So what she did is she gave him a plastic sword that he kept in his bed. And when she told him, when the monsters come in your dream, you can fight them with your sword.
Great idea.
So he learned how to do that, and he conquered his fear of the monsters because he knew he had the sword with him and that he had power over the monsters. Right. And so I want to remind the listeners that we can control our dreams to some degree because we are ultimately in charge. We have the power to change our dreams or to shape our dreams. So if there's something fearful coming to you in your dreams, you can acknowledge that fear, but then you have the control to make it go away or to defeat your fear or to plan an escape route.
Or to talk to your rat in your dream.
Your rat. Yes, sure.
And find out why it's there and how it can help you. Because even the most worst nightmare that you have is a gift from spirit to help you to overcome fears that you aren't even aware of sometimes. And so it is so important to begin a dream journal. That's how I talk about it. I do it on the computer because I type real fast. Mm-hmm. And again, I think I like the written word because you can go back and you can look at it. If you do it with a microphone, you can't always get what happened before, whether this was a reoccurring dream or not. But if you have it written down in a dream journal, plus you can have a dictionary at the back and you can begin to see that there's reoccurring objects that represent certain things in your dream. And so when you wake up in the morning, you'll go, aha, I know what this is about. And it will help you to begin to use your dreams as spirit helping you to overcome your unconscious fears that can attack you during the day and make your stomach hurt or make your back hurt where it wasn't hurting before, because the body is what's the word I want to say? It's so attentive to what you're thinking, what words you're using. Mm-hmm. And if you pay attention to your fear words, and when you do have them, change them. so that you don't allow those words to sink into your body and even create discomfort in your body. It's amazing how strong our thoughts are and how much they can affect our health and everything in it. And so dreams, we cannot say it often enough, dear friends. Dreams are worth paying attention to. And daydreaming is another thing. You know what? It's good to daydream. Most of the creative objects that you may see, and let's talk about my little one over there, have come from a dream. This little angel, she's not so little. I'll try and hold her up so you can see her. There we go. This little angel came in a dream. But at the time, I was working on another hooked piece. This is like rug hooking. And at the time that it came in a dream, I couldn't work on it because I had a deadline for the other piece. So I just ignored her and she went away. But then the next morning, I woke up, there she was again. And still, I couldn't work on her. So she went away. The next morning, she was right back. So at that time, I said, okay, all right, I'll hook you. And so this is actually two pieces. If you turn it around, you can see the back. And it is sewn on the side and stuffed. And that back is all mohair. And I didn't even know what it was. I had to go to a yarn store and just sort of feel things. And then this was gold braid. So I hooked the piece, and then I saw in the Rug Hooking magazine that they were calling for the use of unusual materials. Well, guess what? Mohair is an unusual material to use. So I got a picture of it. I sent it into the Rug Hooking magazine, and it's over there. And there it is. They actually put it in, I got to get it right side too. They actually put it in the magazine, and I was just absolutely amazed. But it said to me in a dream that this angel wanted to be shown in a magazine for whatever reason, although I do know a woman asked me to do one for her of a rainbow. And so I actually did a rainbow angel, so that where she is has the rainbow all around here. Mm-hmm. The rainbow came all the way down across her body. And I was commissioned to do that for her. So you never know how your angels are trying to get through to you. And so they will use any method that they can. It means that you have to begin to perceive and know that you are getting messages in your sleep. So don't delete those ideas that come when you wake up. In fact, when you wake up, lay real still. Mm-hmm. Breathe slowly. Keep your body relaxed, and ask your angels to bring forward any dreams that they wish you to pay attention to. And again, breathe slowly. Don't move quickly. It's almost they're right on the edge of your consciousness. And if you just move too fast, poof, they're gone. Yeah. And they will come back. And there's so much they can give you through your dreams. It can help you in a relationship that maybe you had an argument with somebody, and it can help you to know how that other person was feeling. You will get that kind of information in your dream. And then once you understand where they're coming from, you can address the situation and say, look, I didn't realize that this was affecting you that way. I'm so sorry. Let's look at this again, and let's mend this unnecessary relationship that we had. And so this is where dreams can help you in so many different ways. But I find that my dreams are often very, very creative. I do so many creative things that even this piece behind Holly's head right there, that came in a dream. That was the dove of peace over the earth. And so that's another piece that was hooked. You can see there it is. Yes. It was a very simple piece. It didn't take me long to hook it, but it came in a dream. And so now every time I look at it, it's a prayer for peace over the planet. And especially now that we have global warming, this means so much more to me, because we are really on the verge of losing our planet if we don't do something to change things. And so that dove of peace is right where we can see it every night when we meditate. And we meditate every night. This is something else we would really encourage all of you to do. If you don't have a partner to meditate with, if you don't have a friend you can meditate with, we recommend that you do it if you can get together once a week. I know with the pandemic, it's not easy to do, but even if you did it online, if you have a group that you can meditate with online, and when you meditate, you are helping the planet, because what you're doing is you are taking good energy, and it's like a ball of energy. And when you send it out to where it most needs to be, that ball of energy goes there, and then it sort of just bursts open. And it's like these doves of peace flying all around. Use your imagination to see that, to imagine that you can take a ball full of doves and you can send it anywhere on the planet. And heaven knows that there's so many places where peace needs to replace all the misunderstandings, all the hatred, all the feelings of injustice that is going on in the world. And this is where visualizing the positive stuff, not the negative, visualizing doves of peace, if all of you would do that in your imagination and send it to wherever you believe there needs to be more peace, that there needs to be negotiations rather than wars. Take the time to do this whenever you're inclined to. If you say a prayer before you eat, add that to your prayers, peace on earth. For this is something that affects all of us, but especially it affects our planet. I know we're working to save our planet, and that means a lot of changes that other people don't want to have happen, because it might mean a dip in their pocketbook. But continue to pray for world peace as well as for saving the planet and taking care of the dangers to our earth. So didn't know I was going to put in a plug for that.
Well, actually, there are some similarities between meditation and dreaming. So people who have trouble remembering their dreams, you can practice during the day while you're awake and just go into a relaxed meditative state. And so you can do that by gazing at a candle flame. Mm-hmm. You can do that by repeating a mantra, just some a prayer maybe, or a small phrase, and just keep repeating that until it calms the nervous system down. You can listen to your breath, anything that will get you in a relaxed state of being with your body and then your mind. And so people will use different techniques because the technique I use may not work for you, or the technique you use may not work for someone else. So there are many different techniques, but dreaming and meditation have some similarities. So that's good.
It is very good. And if you do something like that every day, the thing of it is that don't do any meditation while you're driving, please, because you can really go into the alpha state. And a lot of times it happens, it's just a monotonous thing. You're driving, you're going along the same road, and all of a sudden you realize that you're home and you don't remember the last 20 miles or something. It's because you went into a meditative state. But fortunately, your good angels help you to keep you on track and on the road. So be careful when you do that. But this is something everybody should do every day. It's good for your health, because here I am, 87, and I'm still functioning. I do have my aches and pains, but I don't complain about them too much. But it is important for your good health as well to meditate, meaning you relax your body, because tensions build up every day. What you think about, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to take care of this, I got to take care of that. And you're breathing shallow and you feel tight in the shoulders. All of that is from everyday thinking. Your mind just going so wound up that your body gets wound up. And so when you do abdominal breathing way down to your gut and you relax your shoulders and you breathe deeply, you'll find that you think more clearly, that anxiety begins to dissipate, and you get more done. Believe me, you get more done when you are more in a relaxed meditative state. Now, it's not that you're unconscious. It means that you have one foot in heaven and one foot on earth, is the way I look at it. So we do recommend, I don't know.
We should review what we've covered today. So we're talking about dreams, and we talked about the purpose of dreaming.
Right.
We talked about journaling, different techniques for journaling, including voice recording, typing on the computer, writing in a notebook. And then we talked about signs and symbols in dreams.
Right. And oftentimes you begin to have a dream dictionary. This is why I recommend that you write things down in alphabetized tabs, because you don't always remember. And if you have certain birds mean something to you, I think everybody knows a blue bird of happiness is a little blue bird with a kind of an orange breast. And that's different than a blue jay. I see a blue jay as a jabberbox. You know, if you see somebody as a blue jay, you know they like to talk. So these are symbols and things that you can use that birds can often tell you things. I remember one time I had a woodpecker. That was it. And there were robins on the ground. So must have been 20 robins on the ground and a woodpecker in there. And what it said to me, come springtime, you will know what to do. Just keep pecking away until then. That was what this wasn't a dream. It was right out there in front of me. And I took it as a symbol from spirit. So look at your life as a dream. Mm-hmm. And when you see something that sort of strikes you, it just sort of jumps out at you, then, and I have to say to my friend here, snakes jump out at her sometimes. She has a thing about snakes. And of course, here in Florida, she's from Michigan. So here in Florida, we have these long black snakes. And when were first introduced to this kitty that came and adopted us, the kitty had, do you want to finish it?
Oh, the cat really impressed me because the day that I met him, later in the day, he was standing in the yard with the black snake between his paws and he had killed it. So I guess I consider him my knight in shining armor from that point on. So I feel like I need to protect him because he was looking out for me. I realized that the snakes are not poisonous, that they're good for the garden. I can accept that. But the fact that he was there showing himself as a protector, I accepted that, and I'm grateful for that.
And I can tell you, Kitty is her kitty. I can pet it, but where does Kitty go? Not because she feeds him all the time, because I feed him too. But when she's there, he's the one.
It's just because I think I spend more time with him. But
no,
this is where these images and symbols in your dreams might show up also in your daily life. So this cat is an example of, I got a preview of the cat's face in my dream.
There you go.
And then a few days later, the cat showed up in our yard. So it's been great talking about dreams today.
It has been. And we hope you enjoy what we've said. And we hope you begin to look into your dreams and enjoy them. I'm not getting anything here to show what time it is. Can we show us, Jason?
So join us next week for another episode of Ask Raphael. Thank you.